So here we are, 2026. Can you believe it? The year of the fire horse. So last year was the year of the snake, and for many of us, myself included, it was a very transformational year. It was also a very challenging year in many ways. Lots of change, lots of upheaval, emotional challenges, physical challenges, really a lot of letting go of the aspects of ourselves that are not really us, that are not really true to us, those aspects that have been programmed into us or beliefs that we've taken on that aren't really a reflection of our true essence. So there was a lot of skin shedding during 2025 being the year of the snake. But now that we're moving into the year of the fire horse, I really feel like there is a really potent energy coming through for radical action. So let's think about it. The horse represents freedom, it represents movement, it's this powerful, majestic creature. And then we throw fire into that as well. And fire also represents transformation. It also represents the burning of the old, but it's a spark, it's a light, it's passionate. So when we add these two together, we get a really strong, powerful, yang transformative energy. Now, what do I mean by that? I just mean yang in the sense from the Chinese medicine perspective, that it is more of an active energy. It's more of a bright, active, moving energy, as opposed to yin in the yin yang, which is the polar opposite, which is more connected to stillness and is more connected to rest. These are just general examples. So 2026 year of the fire horse, I really feel as though this is not the year to be sitting still. This is the year for action. So previous years, there's been a lot of upheaval, there's been a lot of challenges, and I really feel as though this year, it's about finally taking action. All this letting go, all this change, all this aspect of seeing what we no longer are, now we actually put our money where our mouth is and we take action. We take radical, massive action to share the truth of who we are, to take action on those dreams and things that we're so passionate about doing, but we always put to the side because time is of the essence. It's coming to that point of realizing that if we don't do it now, it's never going to happen. And that's why I also think that this year is a real turning point. It's a real turning point energetically, the likes of which I haven't felt since 2020. And we all know what happened during 2020. That was a very challenging year, the likes of which we've never seen before. A lot of hibernation, a lot of reflection, a lot of stuff going on that was unprecedented. And so for me, I really feel like this year is the first year since then where it feels as though there's a really big change coming and some really big shifts happening. So I see these 2 years as being somewhat connected in that both are representing the energy of major change, of this increased split between these two sides or these two polarities. And what do I mean by that? I just mean that if you have felt that there's been a shift since 2020, particularly in people moving in different directions in terms of what they believe, in terms of what they prioritize in life. Examples of that might be living in the city versus living in the country, being connected to the online digital world excessively versus really tuning out from that and getting back to nature. Believing and supporting in grassroots level stuff, autonomy versus working for the man, big business, big government, big corporations. These are examples of these polarities and this split that is just growing more and wider. And some of us, myself included, there was definitely time there where we were observing and we were watching this separation, this split. And we're kind of sitting on the fence or standing in the middle and going, I don't quite know where to go. I don't quite know which side to be on. I'm not sure if I'm ready to take action. The year of the fire horse 2026 is not the time to sit on the sidelines anymore. Action needs to happen. You can't sit on the sidelines forever. You can't remain impartial forever. You can't be Switzerland forever, not picking a side, just staying in the middle. So I think this is really key for 2026, these factors. So it's a moment of choice. It's a time of choice, of standing for values versus sitting on the sidelines. This split, this divide, can be boiled down even more to the essence of fear and love. Because ultimately, really, everything comes back to fear and love. You'll find that almost every negative action, negative frequency, at its core essence, the root of it is fear. And every positive energy, every positive action, at the very root of that is love. So it's all about, when we look at these sides, in breaking it down to very simple actions, even on a daily or hourly level. Where am I coming from in my actions? Where am I coming from in the choices that I'm making? Am I coming from a place of love, or am I coming from a place of fear? One is very contracted and one is very expansive and open. So these are the fundamental frequencies that are at the core of what's going on. And it's only going to become stronger and stronger over time as we move into the future. And we'll eventually reach a breaking point, which we sometimes feel pretty close to at the moment. So in terms of the astrology, what we're seeing is that a lot of the planets from an astrological perspective are coming into a very active placement, or a very yang placement, as I said before. So such is the nature of the planets and their energies and the way they affect us. At times, they can encourage or promote more stillness and less change in their more yin positions. Whereas the planets at this point are definitely emphasizing action and movement and change. Some people are saying, I read one particular astrology report which was saying that we haven't seen an astrological placement like this since 1942. And what happened in 1942? Well, that was World War II, and a pivotal year for World War II. And we can already see at the moment that there's a lot going on in the world that is placing us very close to war. As you can see with the actions of US, with Venezuela recently, what continues to still happen in Israel and with Iran as well. It's all feeling very, very like we're on the precipice of potentially going to war. And I hope that's not the case, but we need to remember that war is also an inevitable part of life. It is part of the cycles of life. War has happened ever since the beginning of mankind and will probably continue to. So it's not that we can necessarily stop this war from happening, but how can we respond to it? Once again, how can we stand or sit in the midst of this chaos? How can we stay centered? How can we not just get completely overwhelmed by it? And that is another key of this time of this year, is finding our inner strength, finding our own inner balance, and really reinforcing our own inner strength and our own inner balance. So connecting to whatever it is within you that anchors you, that grounds you, and anchoring to that truth within. Because as things continue to destabilize, as the world and society continues to become more and more chaotic, we're going to require having something to hold on to, something essentially that allows us to stay strong, to keep faith. For some people, this might be religion. For some people, it might be their connection with the natural world. Whatever it is, this is your choice. This is your belief. But it's so important that if you don't have a sense of something like this, to find something within yourself or within your experience of life or your practices that you can anchor into, that you can ground into as things get more chaotic and more unbalanced. So it's really feeling into that inner truth and what holds you tightly and what you can anchor into. The fire horse also reflects the energies of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, the star sign in Western astrology, being a half man, half horse centaur. This is a fire sign as well. So it's almost like a fire horse as well. And the energies of Sagittarius are particularly expansive, being governed by the planet Jupiter. And so it's expansive, it's big picture, it's philosophical, it's looking at the forest from the trees. And so coming into this year, can we look at our own lives? Can we expand outwards and look at the bigger picture of our own life, not just holding on to tiny little aspects of it? being more of a visionary or taking on more of the visionary aspect when it comes to our life and its meaning and the world itself. So this is a key aspect of the energies astrologically as well. One of the ways in which we can anchor ourselves and we can find more positive energy during these challenging times is to connect with other people, to connect to our local community, to connect to friends and family, to start to block out, to start to put those blinkers on with that horse analogy of all the crazy distractions, all the stuff that we're taking in, particularly with social media, with phones and internet, that is not good for us, that is not good for our mind, that is not good for our consciousness. It's useful to stay informed. It helps us to stay connected, to be on social media and internet, but most of us are using it excessively. Most of us now actually have addictions to our phone because we start to use it for its dopamine thrill and its dopamine rush. We had a little rush, we had a little stimulus from jumping on our phones. And I've experienced myself, I still do, it's that tendency to use the phone when we're bored, when we don't know what to do, when we're procrastinating, and particularly when we don't want to feel things that might feel uncomfortable. So sitting with that discomfort more, sitting with that uncomfortableness, observing yourself and being mindful to see if you're constantly reaching for your phone, if you're constantly doom scrolling or using the algorithm, because this feedback loop is actually changing the nature of your brain. It's changing your ability to stay focused. It's changing your attention span. This stuff, it's really toxic and really poisonous if we're not placing really strong boundaries around it. So key for this year as well, in terms of our mental health, in terms of staying grounded, in terms of staying in a good mental state and not getting completely overwhelmed by all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world, is to really set firm boundaries and take time away from the online world and from all the news and all the media and all this stuff, because it's not good for our minds. It's not good for our spirits. It's not healthy. What is healthy and what is particularly good for the spirit is getting outdoors into nature and connecting with the natural world around you. For some of you, not sure how old you are, but you might remember, as I do at my age, during a time of no mobile phones. I didn't really start using a phone until after I was 18. And then even smartphones, I wasn't really using heavily until in my 20s. And so I remember very clearly that, yes, there was a time where I pretty much never used a phone. And I would experience boredom and I would have to catch public transport all over the place and sit there twiddling my thumbs. And it wasn't good at all. And yet somehow now it's become incredibly difficult. And it's very insidious. It's like that analogy, if you've ever heard it, of the frog in the boiling water. If you throw a frog into boiling water, I don't know if this is actually true science, by the way, but it's a good analogy. If you throw a frog in boiling water, it immediately responds and, to jump out or jumps out. But if you place a frog in tepid water and you very slowly heat the water up, by the time it actually realizes that it's too hot and that it's going to be burnt or it's going to die, it's too late. And I think this is a really powerful analogy for the ways in which our phone use and our connection to these digital landscapes is really impacting us and influencing us. It's very insidious. It's really crept up slowly. I really feel like this for myself as well. It's like realizing that I have a phone addiction and being like, well, where did that come from? When did it start being this way? It's just happened. And so it's really insidious in that sense. So with this empowering yang energy for 2026, we can harness this in different ways. Any energy, into a stream of energy, no matter how it is. So let's ask ourselves, how are we going to harness this really yang, mobilizing energy for 2026? I think this kind of energy can be destructive. This kind of energy can even be violent, as we were talking about with war. But we can also use this energy to actually take radical action in our lives, to really hit goals, to become the person that we truly are and we're truly meant to be. Stand up for what we believe in, to empower ourselves, to empower others. This is the positive trait and the empowering traits of fire. The fire horse, galloping forward, taking action, leading with love, connecting, expansive, positive frequency. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can actually read a full article of this topic that I've just shared with you through my Substack, and I'll place a link down below for that. If you're watching one of the shorter clips as well, then you can also see the full recording or full video on my YouTube channel. Links down below as well. Until next time, take care.